Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another meal prep video for you. This one's going to be kind of a short one. I had an extremely busy weekend and I only had like 45 minutes to do any meal prepping. So we're going to start with this first one. It's going to be a lunch. Quinoa with some roasted vegetables with sausage. So first off, I'm going to start off with the quinoa. If you've never made quinoa before, one thing that is really important is that you must rinse it. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's dirty and gritty or something. You can sometimes buy quinoa that says pre-rinsed, but even those, I still like rinse it. I don't know. But you're supposed to rinse it until you just make sure everything is nice and clean. So I just take this really fine, you want to take a really fine mesh sieve to do it because quinoa is so small. So I picked this one up, I think up at like Dollar Tree or something like that. And it works perfect. That's really the only thing I use it for is quinoa. Anyway, you just want to rinse it until you make sure all the water is clear and everything. So I'm just taking a cup of quinoa, which will be more than enough. A quarter cup dry is a serving, but a cup of quinoa makes a lot of quinoa. So now I'm also going to use chicken broth for this. You can use water. The recipes always say to use water, but in my opinion, using broth for rice or for quinoa, it just adds a lot richer flavor. And I like to use the free-range chicken bone broth. You can see how rich it looks. It just has such a nice flavor. So now that my quinoa has been rinsed, I'm adding in 2 cups of the broth to 1 cup of the quinoa. So it's always 1 cup of dry versus 2 cups. So that's how the equation goes. Bring it to a boil, turn it down to simmer, and just put the lid on it and let it simmer for about 20 minutes, and you're good to go. This is going to have some sausage. So I actually had 2 packages of the turkey sausage, but I only needed 1. I wasn't sure how much I would get out of the 1 package. So anyway, I have the turkey sausage from Hillshire Farms. Just going to cut that up into little medallions, and then we're going to add some veggies to this. I like to use a big bowl for this because I always do lots and lots of veggies when I do a sheet pan meal like this. So I have the 1 package of the turkey kielbasa, and then I'm adding in 2 cups of diced sweet potato. And I actually bought the frozen one. I had a coupon this week, so I bought some frozen sweet potatoes. So I'm doing 2 cups of the sweet potatoes, and then I'm going to do just a whole bunch of this Normandy blend. This has zucchini, yellow squash, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower. It has a ton of veggies, which I love this mixture of veggies. This big, huge thing of this like 60-ounce package is typically around $5 to $6 at either Walmart, and I get it at Kroger, but I've also picked it up at Walmart. I think it's like $5.97, something like that. Great price for this huge bag of veggies, and you get just a good mixture, and I use this for everything. I absolutely love using this type of veggies. So I'm just going to put these in here with the sweet potatoes and the sausage. I did add in a tablespoon of olive oil for the whole entire batch. I'm also going to use some of this 21 seasoning salute, and then I'm also going to use some onion salt. Use whatever seasoning you want to use. This is also really good with just like Italian seasoning, but I love to use this combination of everything. So I'm just going to put in a lot of seasoning in this, give it a good toss with my hands until everything is all nice and mixed up, and then we're going to put this on a sheet pan. This is going to go in the oven for 400 degrees for 20 minutes, and then I usually give it a good stir, flip it around a little bit, and then I will put it back in for about 10 more minutes. I personally like to have nice and crispy like veggies, and I like the sausage to be nice and crispy as well. So quinoa is done, so we're going to go ahead and put that in the bowls. Now I'm measuring out a half of a cup of cooked quinoa into each of my containers here. You can see it's still piping hot. This is a red quinoa, obviously. You can buy, I've seen 2 different kinds, like the red quinoa and then the regular white quinoa. I don't think there's really a difference in taste. Like, I don't really notice a difference in taste. If you don't know, quinoa has extra protein in it as well, so it's nice as a nice protein boost. So I'm going to add my veggies and sausage on there. Doesn't that just look absolutely amazing, you guys? So this is going to be one of my options for lunch this week. And as always, I always say this, I'm not the only one eating my lunches, so that's why I always try to do a couple different options for lunches, plus we eat leftovers for lunches. But my son also has to take his lunch with him to work, so he also has this as well. So anyway, that's why I never worry about not eating it all, because it always gets eaten. The next one we're going to make is another lunch option. This is going to be some sweet chili chicken with rice and veggies. So I'm actually doing a mixture of cauliflower rice and brown rice. First thing we need to do is take our chicken tenders and we're going to cut it up into little bite-sized pieces. I just like to use chicken tenders because it's already cut up, into like the little tenders, and I like the taste of chicken tenders. So I do tend to buy the chicken tenders more often than not. So I'm just going to dice this up into nice little pieces, then we'll move on to the next step. Now that my chicken's all diced up, we're going to add an egg in here, and then we're going to add in a third of a cup of cornstarch. And what this is going to do is just going to kind of give a little bit of a breading on this. Now, the original recipe does call for putting it in a pan with some oil and frying up the chicken, but I'm going to use my air fryer because I think it tastes just the same. I don't know about you, but I love to throw things like this in my air fryer. So I'm putting in my air fryer. I did it 400 degrees for 10 minutes. I did not bother flipping them over because we are going to cook this a little bit more in some sauce here in just a second. So I just did this in batches, 400 degrees for 10 minutes. Now for the sauce, we're going to use some of this G. Hughes sugar-free sweet chili sauce and then a tablespoon of sriracha. So I'm doing 1 whole cup of the sweet chili sauce and then a tablespoon of sriracha. Here's my chicken. Look at that, you guys. That came out of the air fryer like that. Amazing. Just going to pour that sauce on there. We're just going to simmer this until it's just nice and thick. And oh my gosh, you guys, this is so good. I did take a little taste and it is really good. Now for the rice, we're going to do a full package of the rice cauliflower and a full package of the Simple Truth Organic Kroger. It's like the Kroger brand of the brown rice. You get it in the freezer section. If you guys go to Trader Joe's, this is very similar to the Trader Joe's brown rice in the freezer section. So I'm just going to do a whole package of the rice, a whole package of the cauliflower rice, and then I'm going to add in some sauces on this. The original recipe does not call for putting any sauces. It actually calls for jasmine rice, and it just says like salt and pepper. Like I don't recall it having any kind of sauces, but I'm going to add in some of my sweet chili sauce. You guys, I'm obsessed with this stuff, and I'm also obsessed with the sugar-free teriyaki marinade. Use whatever you'd like to use. So I just put a little bit of each one of them in here. I just did a 1/4 cup of the sweet chili sauce, and I only needed like 3 tablespoons of the teriyaki marinade. Mix that up just to add a little bit of flavor to that rice. And now we're going to cook our veggies. I just using the same pan I cooked my chicken in. That way I still had a little bit of that sauce on there. And I'm just throwing my veggies in there, but I am going to add in some of this sugar-free teriyaki marinade. So the veggies I have some cabbage, some carrots, and an entire red pepper that I diced up. And I'm just going to saute that in with that sauce from the chicken and then also that teriyaki marinade. I used, again, 3 tablespoons of that marinade. It actually was like the rest of the marinade in the bottle. I do have a backup, though, so never fear. I always have a backup of that stuff. But it was about 3 tablespoons of that is what I kind of figure it was going to be. And now we're going to build our bowls. After that sauteed up, we're going to build our bowls. I have the rice in here. I just did a 1/2 cup of the cauliflower rice mixture into each one of my containers here. And then I have the chicken. I weighed out the chicken, divided it by 5 because this is obviously you can see there's 5 servings here. Yum. Oh my gosh, you guys, this is so good. And then the veggies next. So I did not even really worry about measuring out the veggies. I just kind of eyeballed how much veggies to put in there because I wasn't too worried about that. And then we're going to add on the top some cilantro and some green onions. And tell me this does not look amazing with that cilantro and green onions. You can also add peanuts on top of this, some bean sprouts. I actually did buy some bean sprouts, but I'm going to use it for my stir fry later in the week instead. But look at these. Oh my gosh, amazing. Also going to do some hard-boiled eggs. I just put the eggs in some cold water, bring it to a boil. Then once it comes to a boil, I put the lid on there and then let them cook for 12 minutes. For me, that's the perfect hard-boiled egg. And then I'll rinse it in cold water after that. I also bought a chicken from Costco, so I just want to go ahead and get all the meat off of this chicken. I'm going to actually cut this up to make some chicken salad to also have as a lunch option this week. And then the rest of it is going to go in the freezer. Like I said, I had a really busy weekend. I bought this with the intention of having it for lunch and for dinner Saturday and Sunday, but the weekend got away from me and I did not even get a chance to tackle this chicken until I did my meal prep Sunday night. So anyway, it was a busy weekend. So, but this does freeze really well. And so I will go ahead and use what I want of it the next couple of days and the rest of it will go in the freezer. These chickens are such a bargain. They're like $4.99. I've never been a fan of chicken skin, so for me, it's not a big deal. I hope you guys are not offended by me kind of tearing this off with my hands. I don't know how else you do it. If you have a better way, let me know, but this to me is the best way to do it. And you can also save your your chicken bones. It makes really good bone broth. So what I do is I take this and I put it into a big gallon size Ziploc bag, stick it in my freezer, and then when I'm ready to make some bone broth, I just put it in the crock pot and I let it sit overnight in the crock pot, and it makes the best bone broth. So here's all that chicken I got off of there. You can't really tell how much it is, but of course it's a lot of chicken. And you guys, that is everything I prepped this week. I'm sorry, it was kind of a quick prep. I actually had more things I wanted to prep. I wanted to prep some dinners this week, but again, it was just such a busy weekend and it just got away from me. But at least I got some lunches out of the way, and I have the chicken and the hard-boiled eggs, and I feel like I'm still set up for a really great week of success. I will link these recipes down below in the description box, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.